The following is a summary with quotes and commentary on The Republic by Plato. Socrates and some friends get together, and so begins the philosophical discourse. Together they attempt to define justice, first as truthfulness and repaying of debts. Thrasymachus challenges Socrates and states that he thinks justice should be defined as whatever is good for the stronger. Questions are raised by Glaucon to further dive into the meaning of justice. Does the unjust man have a better life than the just man? What about a man who could turn invisible? Socrates proposes that they create a hypothetical city in order to observe a macrocosm of what it would mean to be just. The city quickly turns into a luxurious city with people and products and services of all kinds. But which kind of people would rule, and which would be ruled? The rulers must be the ones to have the best interest of the city, exposed to, when they are young, first to danger and then to pleasure. They must be tested like gold. All those who fail are rejected. Socrates believes in meritocracy. Regardless of birth, if one is made of gold and silver, he should be made guardian or auxiliary of the city. And those made of iron or bronze are to be skilled laborers or farmers. There is a prophecy that the end of the city will come when the iron and bronze becomes its guardian. The internal gold of the soul should not be sullied by the allure of that of the external gold. Once the guardians become interested in external gold, they will turn into hostile masters. Their fears of enemies inside the city will be more numerous than those outside the city. It is agreed that wisdom, courage, self-discipline, and justice are the four elements to make a proper city. Is doing one's own job and doing what best suits him justice? But what is more profitable, justice or injustice? Philosophers should become kings, and kings should become philosophers. Opinion and knowledge are like object and reflection. Thought is a halfway house between opinion and understanding. Socrates then goes on to propose and discuss the allegory of the cave. If a man saw nothing but shadows his entire life, to see the real thing would seem ridiculous. To go into the light after being used to the dark, one would be blinded. So also would he be impaired going from the light to the dark. The city in which those who are to rule are the most reluctant to do so will be the city with the best and most stable government, and the opposite will be the opposite. Which regime should be the greatest? Kingdom, timocracy, oligarchy, democracy, or tyranny? If a civil war were to break out in the city, it would undoubtedly be the side of commerce versus the side of virtue and traditional order. The decline of morals becomes a city of the rich and a city of the poor, constantly scheming against one another. Evil is introduced by a man without means, a vagrant, someone in the city but with no ties to the city. Lack of education, poor upbringing, and constitutional arrangements is the cause of these people coming into existence. Oligarchs want to be as rich as possible. The poor plot revolution, win, and turns the regime into a democracy. Eventually, a tyrant takes over and fuels need for his leadership through unending war. A democracy has liberty and freedom of speech, the most attractive of all regimes. To be in charge in a democracy, just say you are the friend of the people. When tyrannies arise from democracies, a father gets used to being a child and being afraid of his sons. Sons feel like a father who has no respect. Immigrants are put on par with citizens. Teachers are afraid of their students. The old act as the young as to not seem harsh or dictatorial. Men and women become equal. Even the idea of slavery has people angry. Disregard of laws so that no one becomes master. The tyrant becomes the architect of civil war against the rich. He asks the people for a bodyguard, and they give him one. He has a smile in the early days, full of promises, distribution of land, and freeing people from their debts. But he keeps starting wars so that the people still need a leader. He becomes increasingly unpopular by the citizens. He either dies or spends his life hated. He needs bigger and more bodyguards, usually now foreign ones, someone from the outside. He then makes the ex-slaves his bodyguards, the only people left who would be on his side. Of the 5 contenders, the order of happiness and justice is decided: kingship, timocratic, oligarchic, democratic, and tyrannical. There are 3 parts of the soul and their associated pleasures: wisdom, in knowing where the truth lies; honor, in power, victory, and reputation; and desire, in profit. Pieces can be dominant in different types of people. We shouldn't avoid justice for any other reward. We should look to the soul's love of wisdom. Justice is best for the soul. Socrates ends with a story about what happens after death. He explains how disembodied souls would spend 1,000 years in the heavens or beneath the earth, then choose a life to be reborn into. Everyone chose a life that was either a respite from their former life or chose based off of what they had learned in their 1,000 years of respective suffering or bliss. One who came from heaven even chose to live as a powerful tyrant, though he would have to devour his own children. Virtue can be a matter of habit rather than philosophy. Those who came from heaven were most susceptible to this.